Super Dirt Week, racing's biggest party, is all new this year. It's racing, music, camping, and a huge Saturday night finale. See your dirt car racing heroes battle wheel to wheel all week for a chance at glory. Get your tickets at superdirtweek.com or call 844-DIRT-TICKS. The 52nd running of Super Dirt Week, October 7th through the 12th. Be there.
We're here. We're live. October 14th. How's it going, everyone? It's ESPN Syracuse, Newhouse afternoon, 97.7. Big weekend for sports. Syracuse. I mean, New York's is a sports capital of the world. Sorry, Padres. Sorry, Paulie, about that one. Richard, I'm here with Richard Meyer. Richard, how are you?
It's good to be back. I'm so glad to be back, and what a weekend to do it for. The Yankees, the Mets, the two Yankee fans at the desk are having a ball today.
Yeah, no, Paul. I hate to. Paulie did tell me Saturday or Thursday that Padres weren't going to win, so he was right. But I was rooting for him. I mean, Mets Padres would have been nice, but let's get right into it here. So we'll talk some baseball later in the show, but let's start off with Syracuse being the big win over NC State. Kyle McCord, 300 pass yards in a 6th straight game. He was 31 for 42, 2 touchdowns, longest active 2 touchdowns or more streak in college football with McCord, 11. It goes back to 2023, so that's pretty impressive there. He's only one of 3 quarterbacks this year to throw for 300 plus yards and 2 plus touchdowns in every game. It's pretty impressive, right?
I mean, this is, I think, what Cuse fans hoped for when it was announced that Syracuse was going to get him from Ohio State. You're hoping for this caliber of a quarterback, and I think we're really seeing that now that they're starting to get him. And I'm willing to go out on a limb here and say I personally at least have more trust in this 5-1 Fran Brown squad than I did a few years ago under a 6-0 Dino Babers squad. And I think a lot of that can be attributed to Kyle McCord and the way that he's been able to play and the effective way that he's been able to distribute the ball to so many different targets. We've seen so many different receivers on the ends of his passes making great plays. So I think there's definitely something to be said the way that the offense has been run this season.
Well, he completed throws to 7 different receivers, so there you go right there. No
distribution of wealth.
Very, very much so. Breaking Syracuse records. This guy McCord has been great. Even though NC State was without their quarterback, is injured, it's still an impressive win on the road. That's 2 back-to-back road wins for the first time since 2013, right? I believe so. I mean, they're impressive. I can't say enough about this team, but again, I think I need to keep sharing this. It's still Syracuse football, and we cannot think we are Ohio State or Michigan here.
I don't think that anybody's expecting Ohio State, Michigan out of Syracuse. I mean, this is not a program that has been in a national championship conversation in a while, and I don't think that's where the expectations are, but I think the expectations are good performances and consistent performances, which is what Kyle McCord, like you just mentioned, has been presenting. I think what's tough about this NC State win is that just like the ranked matchup that happened, just 2 years ago, it is the same story that NC State fans can call back upon, is their main quarterback out of the question, and then here comes a pretty good Syracuse squad. And I think something that must be noted is how well they have done to bounce back from the loss against Stanford. It's, I think, a loss that not everybody, let's say, expected to happen, but they still have done a really good job to bounce back from it. And I think this win right here was very important now heading into a game in 2 weeks against a hot Pittsburgh team.
Well, 3 turnovers for the defense, which is big for them. But which is an interesting thing here. So I was doing some Twitter analytics, or I guess Twitter stuff for yesterday, and I tweeted a little box score out from the game. And NC State had a 92.7 post-game win expectancy. I had NC State people retweeting me, liking me, saying, yay, another moral victory. And the NC State fans were not thrilled with seeing this. But what I'll take away from it, and do we know what post-game win expectancy is? Yeah, if you play the game multiple times, what will happen? Forget about all that. What I take away from it is that Syracuse got a little bit lucky here, and that's not a game they always win. But you know what? In the end, a win's a win, so I can't degrade that. I will never degrade.
Yeah.
In sports, either win or lose. It don't matter if you win by 1 or you win by 100. It's a win.
Absolutely.
So,
the win is the win, and you can sit here and you can try to guess what woulda, coulda, shoulda happened if this game was played over and over again, but it doesn't matter. What matters is what happened. And what happened was NC State lost, Syracuse won. That's kind of what happens. It is reflected in the records. That's what happened. That's how we move on in this season. It's not like we're going to keep replaying that game. Next week, you are going to look at graphics on TV, and it's going to say Syracuse 5-1. That's just the matter of what it is. What happened, and this team played well. Luck or not, this team played well. Kyle McCord was efficient. The defense was efficient. If you are Fran Brown, you cannot help but just be happy with what happened on Saturday.
Sure, but they were 4-2 last year after the first. I mean, come on.
You never know what happens. This team, this team could go so many different ways, but you look towards the future of their schedule. Tough matchup on the 24th against Pittsburgh, a ranked Pittsburgh, a very good Pittsburgh team that just played a great game. Then Virginia Tech, Boston College, Cal, UConn, ending things off with a brutal Miami team, probably the best team in the ACC. There's so many ways that this team could go moving forward, but I think a lot will ride on what happens on Thursday against Pittsburgh. And I think if there's one thing that we know about sports as a whole, and especially with this Syracuse team, is momentum carries a lot of weight. And I think it's promising to see that the Stanford loss did not put them on a bad momentum track. They've won 3 games in a row now since that loss. So they have good momentum and good vibes heading into Pittsburgh. You know, Syracuse fans can only hope for that momentum to, work very well in their favor.
Yeah, I'm a little. I agree, but disagree with you here, Richard. So 2 weeks ago, I gave Fran Brown a C+. And all these Twitter tough guys were commenting, calling me words that I can't repeat on the radio here, saying I am horrible, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I'm aware. I was on the receiving ends of those texts when those tweets came out.
By the way, I thought it was hysterical. I mean, bring it on. We'll upgrade Fran Brown's grade right now.
To what? Let's hear it.
A B-.
A B-. A bit lower than I think where I would go.
Where would you go?
I think I'm floating somewhere in a B+ range right now.
Why?
Listen, this is the guy's first year at the helm of this team. He's come in. I think he's done a great job in just all of the aspects of his job. This is the first time that, personally, I've seen a coach at Syracuse really go into the community and do all this work, bond with fans, bond with community, then go and follow with that same energy in the locker room. Keep guys accountable. Keep them doing their job. This man, we saw the videos. We saw the videos of him literally running Oklahoma drills. I think he's done a great job in motivating. You can't blame him for mistakes that are out of his control. You can blame him for mistakes that are within his control, within making calls and making certain plays. And I think he's done a good job. I think in a first season at the helm of this program, what he has done is very good. You can't expect flawlessness when you just join a program. Has he been phenomenal and stellar the way that everybody expected him to be? Maybe not exactly, but he's been pretty freaking good. And you have to give the man credit where it's due. I think a B+ is pretty fair. Should they have won against Stanford, would that change things for me? That might change his rating a bit for me.
We've gotten a B from me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's all it changes.
Yes.
It would have been an A, I think, for me.
Why?
You can't give a man that has won, that comes into a program and goes 6-0 in his first 6 games with the team below an A-.
But they were the same record. They've gotten off to hot starts. It's not. I noticed. the record, wins and losses.
But here's your difference. You're talking about a new coach that is just stepping into a program and now has to readjust for said program against a head coach that had been here for years and, excuse me, lack of a better term, had a slump and was finally doing his job. Like, I think the expectations for Fran Brown were set a bit high because hopes were high, because people had been claiming that Dino should have been removed and should have been replaced. That's good and well. But I think given what should be expected of a brand new head coach to a program, Fran Brown has done very well with this program. I am excited to see where he goes and where he moves forward with this program. This team has a good shot of having a very good record come the end of this season. I think they will 100% play in a bowl. I hope I'm not jinxing anything. I really do not see this team going below. I'll give them a floor of 7 wins.
Better knock on wood.
I'll run somewhere during the ad break and knock on some wood. But I think that is a very, honestly, like, not even fair. Like, it is kind of an understatement. I think my genuine, like, we can talk about predictions later, but I think this team does very well this season.
He could end the season with an A+ for me.
What would that take for you? Given that you have him at a B- on a 5-1 record in his first season at the helm.
What would it take? I'm going to politic around the answer, but I'm going to give you an answer.
Let's hear it.
It would take winning. It would take gritty gut. It would take a lot of guts. It would have to be you'd have to end the season on a really big high. That would be something that.
So I'm assuming you mean the Miami win, a win against Miami.
Not even that, because it doesn't need to be a win. If it's a close, if they keep winning and if they just keep consistency, if McCourt keeps playing well, my grade's a progression. He's progressing. You started off. I can't say you started off at a grade at whatever, because we're only starting off. The season's going on. Things are happening. Wins are coming by. Losses are coming by. So we can progress to that. His max is still an A+.
Then let me ask the question that I think a lot of listeners over the past few weeks that have listened to you on this show have, which is, why is he a B-? What doesn't bring him up to a B+, A- range?
Because it's been the same as it's been every other year. They've started off they always start off hot. They always start off good. In 2023, they started off 4-2. The year before, they were 6-0, I believe. So, how can I? If I compare it to that,
I have my own opinions on the 6-0 start and why it wasn't anything better.
But forget about that. It doesn't matter. The 6-0 is their record. It doesn't matter if it's 6-0. They were 6-0 2 years ago. I'm not gonna say their team is the best they've been in years. I'm not gonna argue that. I'm not gonna.
But I think B- is lower than what I would expect, given said criteria that you've offered. Like,
I mean, look who they played Holy Cross.
Listen, I think everyone is aware that the strength of schedule is not at where a lot of SEC schools are sitting. I mean, but at the same time, they have pulled out wins against some pretty difficult teams. I think the Georgia Tech win was important for them. The UNLV win, another important win for them. 25, right? A very hot UNLV team. NC State, great for morale, move it forward. I think a big thing for me and where I rank and how I quote-unquote rate or grade Fran Brown will depend what happens on Thursday, October 24th in Pittsburgh. This is a great opportunity to show what your capabilities are as a head coach. A win against Pittsburgh will move him 100% for me into A territory. It comes down to the fact that you are looking at a hot 20th ranked Pittsburgh team that just pulled out a great win. This is a team that could be this win would be a statement of its own, an important statement to make.
If they beat Pittsburgh,
where does he rank for you then?
By more than 10 points, I'll give him an A-.
Okay, we've brought things into A range. That's
I'm
progress.
writing it down right now.
It's progress here. I don't know. I think we need to keep our expectations realistic for a head coach just coming into a program, doing what he's done. I think he's done a great job with the guys. I think the this has been a very exciting Syracuse team to watch.
Signed, sealed,
because
delivered.
of
I just said, if you can read my handwriting, I said, beat Pitt by more than 10, A-. Beat Pitt, B+, and I signed it. My signature. I never learned script. Look at the signature.
This is where I will. It's beautiful, Jacob.
I know, couldn't be
this
better.
is where I will kind of bookmark my thoughts on this team. This is an exciting team to watch. I think LaQuint Allen has proven himself to be a quality running back for this team. Kyle McCord has proven himself to be a quality quarterback to lead this team. I think that this is the moment where Syracuse football can really cement what expectations should be moving forward. I think Fran Brown has done a great job with this team so far. Excited to see what he does forward. It's an exciting team to watch. The offense has been dynamic, and that is why I have him as quote-unquote highly as I do as comparison to your B-.
LaQuint Allen has a reception in 18 straight games, longest active streak in football in college football right now. Pretty impressive. But we're going to take a quick break here. On the other side, we're going to talk a little more Cuse football, and then we'll get into why New York sports are the center of the world right now.
Baseball.
We'll see you on the other side on QSportsTalk.com, not ESPN 97.7. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Bridge up Syracuse.
I can see your face kind of like cringe at the sign out. It was great.
Let me just...
We're ducking America's pastime.
Science. Let me tweet this out here. Science seal delivered.
If I'm speaking truthfully, I think my expectation for this team my minimum expectation for them is 8-4. My ceiling for them is 10-2. With the loss coming to Stanford and the loss coming to Miami. If they beat Pittsburgh, I see them going on a run and then losing to Miami. As much as I would like to have faith, I think there is no denying the power of the Hurricanes this year. There's no denying it. They're so good.
No, Miami's great. I'm tweeting right now a little official thing here.
Let me make sure if you want to tag me for that one,
So baseball's looking great tonight. Last night the Giants though were not great. My Cowboys last night were a disaster.
Listen, I want to cry when I look at my fantasy team because I started Marvin Harrison and Jerome Ford last night. So I just want to cry. Lost because of them going out, convinced. Gosh, what pain and suffering. I don't even know what I'm going to do because I have Brian Robinson, who's also out. I'm just hopes and prayers for next week.
Today's a big game with Yankees Mets. Sorry again, Paulie, for the Padres. I genuinely mean it. I told him I was rooting for him. I was rooting for the Padres. Dodgers are annoying. I hate the Dodgers.
I also think the Padres are the stronger team, and I think they would have been more difficult for the Mets to win. And as much as I would enjoy seeing and entertaining wise, would love to see the Subway Series in the World Series, but I am just well aware that as a Yankee fan, I would never hear the end of it from my friends that are Mets fans if we lost in the Subway Series. Would not hear the end of it. And I'm well aware of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, you're good. I don't care.
Fine.
I actually enjoy the ads.
It's not bad. At least we know kind of where we're on, where we are
So if I just checked my Twitter here, I just did a nice little tweet here. So.
We should probably keep this shorter.
Yeah.
We'll wrap up Q's football talk with, if you want to do like predictions. I think we could just do like predictions. We could do predictions and then move into the Yankees Mets.
Yeah, let me just do a little here.
And Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
We're back. Newhouse Afternoon. Jacob K., Richard Mai, ESPN, Syracuse, QSportsTalk.com. We're going to continue the conversation talking some Syracuse football. Did you know Jackson Meeks right now, according to PFF, is the 14th best receiver in the country?
I did not know that, but it makes sense.
And Kyle McCord, he's the 5th best quarterback.
See, that I did know, and that I think is...
It's pretty impressive.
We should, Q's fans should be very happy about that one.
I haven't seen that in a while, Syracuse football. I mean, up near the top of the leaderboards, Syracuse? I mean... Hate to say it, guys. We don't belong up there. I'm not.
It's been a while, but it's a nice change.
I agree, 100%. I am.
It is the change that I think the Syracuse fans expected when it was announced that Kyle McCord was coming here, and that is, it's lived up to the expectation, I think, of what people hoped.
I mean, maybe if it was on Ohio State, they would have beat Oregon yesterday, right?
Oh boy!
Or 2 days ago.
Who knows? Maybe he wouldn't have slid at the wrong moment. You know
what? He's
never know.
He's in the 315 right now, so we are happy to have you, Kyle. We actually couldn't be happier to have you here. So, I guess we can go here, Richard. This is a tough. We're at the Q's football conversation up with this one.
Hit me.
Before the season, last spring, did you expect this to be where you are on October 14th at 2:21 p.m. to be thinking what you are right now? Are you surprised or not really surprised?
I think the best way to say it is yes and no, because you're it's surprised in certain aspects, but not in others. I think we just said it. If you had told me over the summer that we were going to be sitting here on October 14th with Kyle McCord ranked in the top 5 quarterbacks in the country, I would have laughed it off and been like, yeah, he's good, but is that good, really? Not to say he's not good. It's just I don't think anybody expected it. It's what you said. You think about Syracuse being on these national ranking boards, and it's just like, really? it's kind of a shock moment. But I think at the same time, you look at the schedule, and you look at the strength of schedule. And I personally expected, simultaneously there's hope and expected, and it's kind of hard when sometimes those overlap in certain ways. I think 5-1 was a realistic expectation that I had for this team. I think the hope was 6-0 because of you look at the strength of schedule. These are teams that are realistic for Syracuse football to beat. I did have some questions and concerns about Georgia Tech. I had concerns about Pitt. We didn't know how good NC State was going to be this year, but that could have been a rough patch. But if you told me over the summer that the game that we were going to lose was Stanford, I don't know how much I would have believed you. With respect to the Stanford team and how good they have been this season, that is not the team I would have expected you to say if we were 5-1. You tell me months ago, 6 games in, they're 5-1. Who'd they lose to? Stanford is not the team I probably would have given you.
Stanford was a heartbreaker. That was a game where that was probably the worst. I guess that was bad.
Yeah,
that was Stanford was bad. But again, since then they've
still, you look at the numbers, they're very good. And have they met my expectations? I would say a decent yes. Maybe not a confirmed solid full heavy-hearted yes, but a pretty solid yes.
I would give you a yes too. I think was expecting Syracuse football to be Syracuse football again, and that's what they're doing. Regardless of who the players are, that's what they're doing. I think they've, and it's true. I hate to bang. That's just, if you just saw the season by season first, whatever. But no, they've been impressive. They've been exciting. I don't think they're there yet. Obviously, Fran Brown says it's a process, of course.
It's a process.
I also want to talk about this. He said on the ACC huddle a couple of days ago, or after post game, that Syracuse football still they have a losing mentality still. And I'll put it in more context. He was saying, a lot of the things we did towards the end of the game, it's still like we have that losing mentality a bit. We started turning around, talking to fans, and I was thinking, none of them are playing, so why are you doing that? It's those little things. I knew what was going to happen because in your head, I see you waving at them, but the game isn't really over yet. Let's not do that. We still have a lot of things that cause us to beat ourselves, and we have to fix that. Once we do, I think our culture will be more ingrained. When I saw a tweet about losing mentality, that's something big for me. Like the mindset, the whole mindset, the vibe, all that. When I saw Fran Brown talking about losing mentality, that seriously, out of anything he said this year ever, really caught my eye.
Why?
Because for someone to say losing mentality, just the losing mentality, that's something I could tell teams have losing mentality. I tell you have losing mentality. I don't hear your coach say that. That's really interesting, and I still don't know if I liked it or not.
I personally am a fan of the Fran Brown coaching mentality. He's clearly an accountability guy.
I like that.
I mean, there was stories going around of like. There was a rumor that I think that he had gone into a classroom to check if one of his players was in class, and
sure.
He wasn't there, and he's walked out. And I think the point of me saying this is like, I am a fan of coaches that keep accountability and keep players to a certain standard because that's what you should do. It trains good habits, like good habits off the field and off the court, transition and translate into good habits on the field. And I think he has a good mindset. I like what he's doing with the culture of the team, and I think all signs point really well.
No, I agree with you there. The losing mentality sort of just said we have to learn to stop losing in certain situations. Sorry. A lot of things we did towards the game, and he said the quote I said before. I do think it's interesting, like waving at fans and getting, I guess, it's more of, I think the idea he was getting at is like, the game's not over yet, so let's not act like it's over. But at the same time, I don't think that it's a losing. I don't know if it's I don't know if I'd call that a losing mentality. But we're gonna take a quick break here, another break. On the other side, we're gonna talk some NLCS, ALCS, Yankees, Mets. I mean, it couldn't be a better time for New York sports. I mean, tonight.
What a great day for the show.
What a great day for the show. I mean, tonight you have the Jets, Rangers, Islanders. I guess we didn't include the Devils. Whatever. Yankees, Mets. I mean, it all starts. It's awesome. So we'll see you in a few minutes. Jacob K. Richard, my QSportsTalk.com, ESPN, Syracuse. See you in a few.
Evan Kent.
So I saw this earlier. At the NLCS, the Game 2 winner.
Thank you.
The winner wins the series 64.8% of the time. If you win a game. I don't know if that means you take it to a lead.
If you win game 2?
I'm taking another look at that.
So you're saying that 64.8% of the time, whoever wins game 2 wins the series?
Yes. Forget about game 1. The game 2 winner wins 64.8% of the time. So that's an interesting thing, which makes a lot of sense though, because of course it's either 1-0, 1-1. If you're up 2-0,
because you're now pulling momentum in from game 2 and into. Well, I will say it will be it's going to be very important for the Mets to win tonight.
Of course.
Because the next 2 games are at home. Next 3 games.
Yeah.
And if I know one thing, my best friends from back home, from high school, 2 of them are Mets fans. And I went with them to a game at Citi Field over the summer. There's one thing I know. New York sports fans are passionate. And that home field advantage will carry. And it's going to be important for them to win tonight. It'll set them up well. I think this series. Do you think the series goes 6 or 7? I don't think it goes 4 or 5. I don't think it's a clean sweep.
I think it happens. But of course, what happens tonight. But I do see it going 6 or 7. I do.
I think it's 6 or 7, 100%. I don't think it's going to go 4. I don't think it's going to go 5. I would be shocked if this is a sweep for the Dodgers. I'd be shocked.
The Mets have a lot of heart. They are used to playing with their backs against the wall.
Yes,
they're not the situation.
They are
like last
the
night,
underdogs this season. They are the
to
team
lose,
that people did not
everything
expect
to win. Yep.
Exactly. But also 9-0
Doesn't matter.
is brutal. No, I'm just saying it. Facts are facts. The numbers don't lie. 9-0 is.
But at a certain point in the game, they kind of just gave up. You could tell that with the pitcher, that with what they did, their game plan, they kind of just were saying, we'll move on to the next one.
Sure.
They don't. It's in a playoff situation.
I will also say it's weird because it was a 9-0 win without a single home run. It was all RBIs.
Yeah, well, Senga.
This is also the other issue this is the other thing I was going to mention. The Dodgers are a beatable team if you can get past Shohei and Mookie.
Shohei didn't. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this too. This is where the game
And
really got
Mookie
off.
Betts had 3 runs batted in.
Yep.
Freddie Freeman is injured. Still sent a runner in. The one I didn't expect was Max Muncy. Didn't expect that one. But he also played well with 2 RBIs. I mean, I just think the problem for the Mets now is going to be getting past Shohei and Mookie. And if the bottom of the batting lineup can get on base and then you put up Shohei or Mookie, it's dangerous for the Mets.
Yeah, well, of course, last night, Mets started Kodai Senga, who threw 30 pitches, only 10 strikes.
I don't want anything anymore about, we have such great pitcher depth. What happened to Senga last night?
Well, Senga only didn't. The plan was to do only probably the order once. So I'm not really. It wasn't super. He didn't pitch well, but whatever. I don't think it's fine. It's a 7-game series again. So, but
How much longer do we have?
Just a little under a minute.
I was gonna say I saw this online. Last thing before we get back on the show, because I don't know if we're gonna fit it. I'm curious what you have to say. I saw this online on like social media. People were asking if there was one historic Yankee that you could bring back to play right now. Who would you bring back? I have my answer. All I'm gonna say: Q enter Sandman. I think.
Yeah.
I think we need a closer. We need a good closer pitcher, and just Mariano Rivera. That's it. One of the greatest closers in the history of baseball. You got to
Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from
This
the
hour of Newhouse
campus of
Afternoon is brought to you
Syracuse
powered by
University.
Drivers Village,
This
Cicero.
is
Go to
Newhouse
dvoffers.com for more info. We're back here, Newhouse Afternoon. Jacob K. Richard Mai here. So it's a great time in New York sports here. Of course, tonight the Nets play. Everyone's playing tonight. I mean, the Knicks play. It's a great time to be a New York sports fan, and I will generously include Syracuse in it because I mean Syracuse. We're in New York.
Great time.
Well, if you're
Not everyone's winning.
well, if you're a Giant fan, then you're not. But
Well, yeah.
I mean, still,
Thanks. There's
you're
the
likely a
reminder.
fan of another team that I can't feel too sorry for you. So this is what we'll start off here with the Mets because they're the earlier game.
Well, we're going to talk about America's pastime because we
Yes.
got to talk about
Baseball.
both New York teams being in their respective championship series. We had to talk about that.
So the Mets have shown a lot of heart. They battled, and last night in fabulous Los Angeles is that's what people call it because it's people always say, "Oh, fabulous Los Angeles," you know what I'm getting at. Like it just L.A. and all the bright lights. The Mets lost 9-0. Not great,
Demoralizing.
demoralizing. But again, in the playoffs, you got to move quick, and you can't forget about what happened yesterday. You got to move on to today.
Yes.
When they start Sean Manaea, who you can argue has been, I don't want to call them their ace because their pitching has been great, but Sean Manaea has been awesome. Dodgers are pulling out the bullpen today, which is no easy run because you're only going to see a pitcher once. So players can't get used to those pitchers because you're going to see him for an at bat, and then the next time you're up, you'll see another pitcher. So they'll play the magic game, I'm sure, and Dodgers have a good bullpen. So that'll be interesting to see. But what do you think about of course, game 2, pivotal game in the series, really, because the Mets can go home down 0-2, but also the Game 2 winner of the NLCS and NLCS history, not ALCS, NLCS, the Game 2 winner wins the series 64.8% of the time. So 65% of the time, your Game 2 winner is your series winner. That's 65%. That's a lot. So can the Mets tie it up and go home for 3, or will they have to climb out of the hole, which they are used to doing, but to go down 0-2 is tough.
It's what we were talking about over the break, right? This is a Mets team that has nothing to lose and everything to win. This is a team that was underrated, underestimated. They were the underdogs. People did not expect them to go as far as they did, except unless you're MLB The Show, which I guess, you somehow predicted them being in the NLCS. But this is a team that, like you've mentioned, because of the situation they were put in early on in the season, they understand the idea of digging themselves out of a deep hole, and this is a team that you can no longer underestimate. The Dodgers need to take every opportunity they have, and they took theirs last night. This is, I think, there was no great outcome for the Mets in the DS, and there was either the Padres or the Dodgers. Padres arguably the better all-round team. The Dodgers just dealing with injuries and dealing with a team that is not at full strength right now. And I've been saying it throughout the week. For the Mets, the key comes if you can survive past Shohei and Mookie. Freddie Freeman is not at full health, and then you have a fair rest of the batting lineup that you can probably get yourself by with the pitchers you have. That was not the story. Mookie Betts 3 RBIs. It's just they did not do what they needed to do, and I'm curious what happens tonight, how they reset for this next game. Things could go differently. You never know. Like we said, an unpredictable Mets team that you don't know what they can come out swinging and firing on all cylinders and all that good stuff. And they've played very well throughout. I'm curious to see what they do. Key to me, get past Shohei, get past Mookie, do your best moving forward. And that's kind of going to be the key. Get past their stars.
Yeah, no, of course. Well, this postseason, the Mets are 0-2 in the second game of the series, so that's not a big deal, but whatever, in Mets history, they're 10-10 in the second game of a postseason series.
This is a very realistic NLCS for them to survive. It is realistic for them to be in the World Series. It's just a matter of, this game is going to be absolutely pivotal because regardless of what happens here, they go home. The next 3 games are at Citi Field, and that's going to be very important. And saying it to you earlier, we know how loyal and how crazy, like a good crazy New York sports fans are and can be, and it's going to be pivotal for them to be able to go home with that 1 win in their pocket and just needing the 3 more at home.
And I think they could. They're 3-3 this postseason on the road. They're honestly, I believe the Mets have what it takes to win, as you said, really just before. I believe in them, but again, they got to show it. They can't let the opposing pitcher go 7 shutout. Of course, that won't happen tonight. But the Dodgers haven't let up a run pitching in 30-something innings, I think. They're on some historic run, preventing rain here. But also, it's bound to break at some point. The Mets could break it open real big.
But the question is, who's gonna be the one to do it? Is it gonna be the Mets, or will it have to wait for later if they survive, and will it have to wait for the World Series for that streak to break?
Well, I think the Mets will score a run tonight. I'm sure they'll score a run. If they don't, that'll be bad. Then you'll be down 2-0. That'll just be. Let's not. Again, as a Yankee fan, as you can tell with my shirt here, I'm not hating the Mets. I guess I'm rooting for the Mets. It doesn't. But go Mets. I don't. No reason to hate the Mets. I'm not. There's no hate. I'm good for the Mets. I'm happy for them. Maybe they're not going to take Soto from me, though. That's another story. But that's
do you think, to also move things over to the Yankees, do we think that the Subway Series will happen?
Right now, where I'm focused on ALCS Game 1 tonight. Rodon's on the mound. I'm focused on that tonight.
Fair enough. How do you? I feel
it'll be hard for you to believe, but I have not thought about that. It's hard to believe, but I genuinely have not thought about anything past the series. Yeah.
No,
mentally, I'm not. I've not thought. I just haven't thought about it. I'm focused on tonight and tonight only.
So how do you feel about tonight? I think Yankee fans should feel good about tonight. I think, to me, the key is hitting. It's like, listen, we've seen that Yankee pitchers can be good. They can be very good. I mean, listen, if Luke Weaver can do what he did, if Garrett Cole can continue doing what he did, it looks good on a pitching end. But to me, the key for the Yankees is, can you hit? If the Yankees hit the way they can, if they play well, it doesn't need to be stellar. It doesn't need to be perfect. But if the Yankees can hit the way they should, they have a genuine shot to win the whole thing. It will come down to the hitting, to the batting. Sometimes, some games, it comes down to the pitching. In this game, it comes down to the batting.
No, you said it perfectly. The past many years, Yankee playoffs, it's always been because of the batting. For Aaron Judge, or 3 spot, doesn't matter. I hate to target Aaron Judge here, but I have to. Any 3 spot on a team, if there is no production out of that spot, the team's going nowhere. It don't matter who it is. So, for me, Aaron Judge is the guy who I'm watching for. And we'll tell you more after the break, though. We're going to take a second to last break here. And we'll talk Yankees after this one. Richard Mott, Jacob K, QSportsTalk.com, ESPN 97.7, Newhouse Afternoon.
I think what it is to me is Giancarlo Stanton needs to keep doing what he's been doing. Point blank in the period.
I'm not worried about him, though.
I know, but what I'm worried about is if he's hitting the way he has, they could be in good here. Okay.
Carlos Rodon.
Here we go. Here we go. The standing begins. Okay. You know what? Let me join you.
Carlos Rodon was talking about containing his emotions. That's what we're talking about.
Yes, I agree that good hitting from the 3 spot is important.
I'm talking Carlos Rodon. He had a great first inning last time, great second inning, but he was horrible how he ended up. And ended up, oh my God, it was so bad. Cleveland is a really good team. They're a pesky team. They're an annoying team. They're a team you want to hate. They have players you want to hate. They are just a team I didn't want to play. I was avidly rooting for the Tigers. So much so. Cleveland, their bullpen this year at a 2.57 ERA. I'm going to say this again when we're back on air, but I'm just going to say it twice because I think it's so important. Their bullpen at a 2.57 ERA, best since 2013. By a single bullpen.
Listen, guys.
Really
I tried to tell Jacob that we should do something fun with the last segment. I remember last year, like, how much the guys enjoyed me and Whaley doing trivia. I was gonna try to get Jacob to, but you know what? When you get the 2 of us started on the Yankees, I don't know how much you can.
Stephen Kwan is a Yankee killer. Jose Ramirez is a killer. Josh Naylor, this little rockabye baby thing from a couple years ago. He's so annoying. The Guardians have allowed 3+. Okay, but we still have one more break, right?
No. What do you mean? It's 2:43.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, that's awesome. I did that on purpose. I thought we had one more break, but you know what? That's actually better. Yes, you're right. Okay, we're good. This is awesome. Okay. The Guardians have allowed, listen to this, three or more runs in an inning in only 4% of innings this year. They don't allow the big blows. The Guardians are pesky. They're annoying. They are just a team they're just annoying. David Fry is that electric hit. I'm very nervous. Kwan, Ramirez, Jimenez. Cleveland is 30. Carlos Rodon's a lefty tonight. Cleveland is 31-12 against lefties. They hit lefties really well. That's a concern for me. The Cleveland is 27-19 in one-run games. Yanks are 21-18. These games are going to be close, highly contested. I have the chills thinking about it right now. Genuine chills. It's like what The Rock says. He does the thing. You know, I have the chill. I have the goosebumps thinking about this right now. Seriously, I'm very nervous.
It's clobbering time.
It's clobbering time. Yeah, you're
CM
right.
Punk.
I'll tell you this too. I saw this too. The umpire tonight
Oh boy.
is the most pitcher-friendly umpire in the strike zone for pitchers in 2024. So he calls pitch. So what does that mean? Okay, I'll tell you. He calls pitches bottom out the zone strikes more than any other umpire. So there you go about that one. This will be something tonight. Tonight will be crazy. Tonight will be electric. But I mean, the Mets are the nice appetizer. I'll be watching everything, as I usually do. But I have to just enjoy the show and enjoy baseball. You always enjoy baseball. But
God, I was gonna try to do something real fun for D Block, but you know what? Let's talking Yankees is fun, you know.
Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
we're back. Jacob K. Richard, live from this Newhouse Sports Media Center. Currently, we are standing tonight, just how there will be standing room only in Yankee Stadium tonight, I assume. That's a good. I thought about that last second. It doesn't happen often.
I was going to say, how long did you mull over that one, Jacob?
Literally 5 seconds. But that was a good one, right? That was great. Standing room only. We're standing right. That was not. I didn't get you to stand on purpose. This is standing because of the emotion. But we're here, and we got the Yankees tonight. Game 1 of the American League Championship Series. The Yankees have made it. They're here, ready to rock and roll. I mean, we can give it a round of applause for the Yankees so far. They made it. They beat the Royals. I like this team a lot. The vibes have been good. I'm just nervous for tonight, Richard. And I know I'm a little more intense than you are about this.
Yeah.
But we're still diehard Yankee fans. But I mean, my intensity is something that shouldn't be compared to. It's not fair to compare that to you.
Yes.
Because I mean, to compare it to anyone, I haven't had a voice at 11 o'clock tonight, and I don't expect of a voice. I will every pitch. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat, and I do sit for the games. I don't stand.
I was expecting you to be sitting for the whole game. I mean, it deserves it. It deserves it. It warrants it. This ALCS right now could tell us loads about what you can expect out of this Yankee team moving forward into potentially the World Series. Knock on wood. You never know what it's going to be, but it tells us a lot about what the potential could be heading into the World Series if the Yankees get there. And any Yankee fan would be standing the way we are right now, just anxious at seeing what could happen.
Yeah, no, Cleveland is a tough team. They're really good. They have a great bullpen. I said this in the break, but I'll say it again because I feel like I have to, out of respect for them. Their bullpen this year had a 2.57 ERA, which is the best by a bullpen since 2013. They can make games real short. Their starting pitcher can give you 4 innings, go to the bullpen, and you got electric arms out there. You have Emmanuel Clase, who, if it wasn't for Scooble, would be the Cy Young from a relief pitcher. A relief pitcher winning the Cy Young. And I mean, Detroit did hit that crazy home run off of Clase too, but Clase is Clase. Cleveland is a great team. You have Steven Kwan, who's as pesky as a hitter as they come. Jose Ramirez, who's just a great player. No hate for him, just really good player. Andres Jimenez too. You have Josh Naylor, who's a Yankee, just seems to do the Rockabye Baby thing a couple years ago, which is the Yankee series ended. I remember Bob Costas was on the call. They threw it to Glaber, and Glaber did the rock. I love that too in 2022. But Cleveland is a team. They're a high contact team. They're a team that's aggressive offensively. They have a 63% swing rate with 2 strikes this season. So they're going to go after you. They're going to have those bloopers, those annoying hits that you're going to say they got lucky, but did they? You could argue yes or no, but the hit's a hit, just as a win's a win, as we said earlier with Syracuse. But that's my concern, where my concern's at right now. Rodon, Cleveland this year is great off of left-handed pitchers. They have a 31-12. Rodon last night is coming off of a rocky start. There's a lot to be concerned about, but also I can sing praises of the Yankees too. So how are you feeling right now? I know I said a lot.
Tough game, yes. Winnable game, yes. I will continue to reiterate this to every human being that asks me about this Yankee game tonight. If they hit, they win. If they hit well, they win. Period. This is a winnable game for the Yankees. Do the Guardians scare me to a certain degree? Yes. They should. They're a good team, and any team that makes it this far in the playoffs has a level of momentum moving with them. So do the Yankees, so do the Mets, so do the Dodgers. Every team has a certain level of momentum running with them because you've made it this far. It's going to be what it's going to be. It is just each team needs to do their job. It always is that. It always will be that. It's kind of just the beast of sports, is it'll be what it'll be. And the Yankees can only control what is in their power, and it's going to be important that the pitchers continue to do what they have been doing. I'm looking directly at Garrett Cole and Luke Weaver as I say that, and in terms of hitting, you have good hitters that just have not been hitting the way that you would expect them to over the last few games, and some that are exceeding expectations based on how they've been playing this season. I'm looking at Giancarlo Stanton. But with that said, there are good hitters on this team that just need to make contact with the stupid thing. Like, that's all it is. Look at the depth of this batting lineup. Torres, Soto, Judge, 2 spots down, Stanton. It is a good lineup. They just need to execute, which has been their problem in slumps and divots throughout this season.
Speaking of Soto, he has 3 home runs in 6 games against Cleveland this year. So that's a little nugget there for you. But here's my I guess thing here. Cleveland, their pitching is the thing I'm looking at. I said this during the break, and I'll say it again because just out of respect for them. They've allowed innings of 3 or more runs in only 4% of innings pitched for them this year. They don't allow the big innings, the innings that'll break the game away, that will give you that big lead. And I was at the game in August when that was the heartbreaker. I have a video of me on Twitter yelling at the team. I was like, "Fire Boone!" I think I said it, "Fire everybody!" I'll retweet it after just because it's funny. But that's what worries me. They don't. The big inning, and the Yankees thrive off of those big innings because you have a team built on power. So this will be a series of low in my estimate. Who knows? I could be totally wrong. Low scoring, tight, tough, close games.
I agree.
And I'll give you the key of the series right now for the Yankees. Score in the first inning. That is the key. That is the key that'll unlock you to your future. And I'm not talking about the future. That I don't know what the future. I'm not saying those 2 words that begin with a W and S. That will get you into your future. Score in the first inning. You have to score in the first inning. Have to. Because either you're on the road and you give your pitcher a lead before they even throw a pitch, or you give your pitcher a lead in the second inning. That's vital. Vital.
Yeah. I mean, they just need to execute. They need to execute. You've seen this team work cohesively. You know that they can work together as a good unit. And they've done that thus far. It has gotten them to the point they're at. It is just continuous requests for execution of the plan. And listen, it was good against the Royals. It happened. They need to keep it moving. And I think I'll say it. I'm not on this show every other week the way you are. I will say it while I'm here. I genuinely see a Subway series. I will knock on wood the minute I get out of here. I see you already, Jacob. I see it. I can see it. I'm not saying it's my final prediction. There is the potential of it happening. It could happen. It is realistic based off of the way both teams win. These 2 series are winnable for New York teams. It is about the execution. It always is. It always will be. That's just the way of sports. And you can only as a fan, there's nothing more you can do but hope because it is out of your control. You're not the one on the mound. It is out of your control. Just hope.
Yeah, I'll share this too. Again, the umpire tonight is the most pitcher-friendly strike zone in 2024. He calls pitches at the bottom of the zone a bit more than other umpires. So strikes at the bottom of the zone. So that could be something both teams will try to aim at. We'll see what happens. Again, but the Yankees, again, it falls on to Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. If they hit, they win. If they don't, they don't win. It's as simple as that. I know it sounds so much simpler than it actually is. You got Rodon needs to pitch well, but again, this team, for example, last night the Mets had 2 hits. You're never going to win a game when you hit 2. When you have 2 hits, it's not going to happen. So for me, you got to just show a lot of heart. You have to have the winning mentality, as Fran Brown said. Fran Brown said, the Syracuse said losing mentality. We need to have a winning mentality, and with that, that'll be all we have today on Newhouse Afternoon. Jacob K. Richard Mai. See you next time.
This is Orange Nation.
I'm not as worried this year, though. I feel better about this team. I'm at a point where I think